yellow. Let's see if this thing is working. Let me just set it up. So, that seems to work. Google. Google Maps. Bam. Moscow. Russia. Where's Kazakhstan? That would be the border. Should be about right. So, we all know Russia's big. There's the Chinese border. Mongolia. There's China. China, down there. Mongolia. My geography is not good. It isn't. Is Mongolia really there, or is this just outdated or something? I don't know. Never hear from Mongolia. Now, where's Siberia? Siberia is the Russian tundra, isn't it? No, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see, Kazakhstan is here. And Siberia would go right around here. Start right around there, and it's basically all that. So Russia is just this piece. Let's see if we can find out. Map of Siberia. Siberia, Russia. Siberia. I don't know. Centrals. Oh, shit. Siberia. Got anything bigger here? Siberia. There. There's Mongolia and China. So it seems like this is Siberia, you know. See, this says Russia, but, well, that's not really right, is it? Ural. Far Eastern Siberia. Anyway. Far Eastern. Northwest. Pittsburgh and Moscow. So Kazakhstan is down here. Mongolia. Right. Now here's a border. Here's a border. So, right around there, all the way down to Kazakhstan. There's Ural. Right? However you want to pronounce that. And then there's this. So, let's see here. From here, all the way down this mountain chain, probably. All the way down to Kazakhstan, with it over here. Pyum pyum. Pyum pyum. Would that be over here? so from here to there, that's where Russia ends. If I'm reading this right. And then that's Ural. Right, and then Siberia starts somewhere over here. Maybe it's there. Maybe that's Siberia. You know? So what other nations do we have in here? We got Ukraine. We all know about Ukraine. Georgia? I don't know. What is Georgia? We got Turkey down here. They got a lot of arms, weapons, and stuff. I mean, they pretty much rule the Black Sea, don't they? And Kazakhstan is right here. Now let's just stop Turkey from just pushing a little bit north. Just a little bit. You know. There's Azerbaijan. You know. What if Azerbaijan just, well, that's about how big it is nowadays. What if they just, extend it just a little bit? Wouldn't that be nice? You know. Because I'm pretty sure that Russia is, beyond fighting back now, aren't they? More or less. As long as the EU and keeping them under control, keep pounding them. And Turkey can move up here, take the other side, and just control these waters. Get the Russians out of the Black Sea. That would be nice. What are they doing on it? I'm gonna get Ukraine. Well, they might as well take over on top here, all the way down to Kazakhstan, right? Like, here's a natural, nice little border right there. Right there. Why not? Belarus. Now, is that is, isn't it? It's its own nation. I don't know how old these nations are and whatnot, because I don't fucking care. So what if Belarus just, take Moscow? They're the most Russian of them, aren't they? So Ukraine can take all the way on here, really. Just from the sea down here, past Turkey, all the way down to Kazakhstan. Why not just take all that? All the way up. Right up there. That's a nice straight line right there. And then Belarus lays on top, all the way to Kazan. Just layer these fuckers. Why not go all the way over there? Straight across there. That would be nice. Then we got Latvia. Now this is a little Russian thingy, isn't it? How about giving that to Lithuania? I'm all for that. Why not? Give them a little bit more. You gotta pound the military out of here, though. But, shouldn't be too hard. But, with the Ukrainian war, we haven't really gone after their battleships. We really haven't. And the Russians are up in arms. They don't want to fight anymore. I don't know how many Russians have died yet, but so Lithuania gets that little piece. Latvia plays on top of Belarus. Might as well push it good far. How about pushing all the way in there? You know, that's kind of level with that, right? Latvia gets all that territory right there. Why not? And then Estonia comes on top of there, you know, all the way in over there. Gets St. Petersburg and whatnot. Maybe even push it a little bit further. Like all the way over there. Why not? Boom, boom. Well, then you've got Finland. Well, you might as well take this part, right? Take all of that. Right over there. Cut it there. Go down to the sea. Now, this was Ural, right? Started over there. So maybe that's a bit close. Ah. But if we're parting up Russia, you know, that's pretty much where we gotta go. All the way to Ural. That would make sense. But instead of having Ural going down there, we could extend that over there. Right? Why not? Now, this little thing, I don't know about that thing. You know, let's not include that one. And the Norwegian territory comes here, and it goes pretty much straight up there, right? More or less. Right? Unfortunately, Finland is blocking the north here, but I think Finland and Sweden can work together here. Maybe in time, you know, Sweden gets a little part of this just to have a little bit of connection. You know, I mean, if Finland gets, well, all of this, let's say, from up here all the way down there, it's pretty much a straight line when you look at it properly. Right? All the way to the sea. And then they control all of this, all the way down to Ural. Don't want to make them too big though, do we? How about right there, drop of the mountain chain, and just got a straight line over to the north there. I think that would be pretty nice. You know, and whatever is left here, just give it to Estland, Latvia, Lithuania, Belarus, Ukraine, Turkey. Might as well give something to Kazakhstan. Yeah. Like, why not? And Svalbard has always been contested, with Russians trying to take it over and whatnot. Now, if Norway was to control this island, and this, well, we wouldn't need to do that. Although, it's very close to Greenland. No, it's not that close though. Alaska over here. Alaska. Canada. I mean, why not? Russia has a total of 150 million people. Europe has 550 million people. Why not? You know, let's get rid of the fucking Russians. They're no good for anybody. No good to anyone. They've always been a menace. Fucking plague. I'm not saying go in there and kill everybody. I'm just saying move in there, and integrate the Russians. Get rid of the military, and they're up in arms anyway. They don't want to fight anymore. Rightfully so. But I'm pretty sure they don't want to lose their territory either. But as far as I've gathered, Ukraine is bombing all the way up here. It's pretty much all of Russia. The southern parts of Russia, anyway. So they're all bombed out of their gourd. And the people are rebelling. And how many people live up here? I don't know. Probably nothing. The terror, though, is Murmansk. That's where the Russian fleet is, right? All the nuclear subs and whatnot. But we haven't heard anything from those. Because Ukraine is inland. Now, shouldn't be too hard to bomb these motherfuckers out of oblivion, But that's a decision that the EU has to come to terms with. If they just decide, enough is enough, why don't we just get rid of Russia? They could bomb that little area. Why not? Or if the Americans finally wake up, and try to make things a little bit more sane again, correct their wrongs and try to restore relations a little bit, they could send us a couple of carrier groups. And the U.S. has 12 now. They just made another one. It's insane. How many carrier groups do you need, right? China has 2. Russia has 1 or 2. Oh. How many do you need? You need 4 maximum. You could set half the fucking fleet and you still have 6. Right? Just send them up here. Not under fucking, Trump. Jesus Christ. You know what he'll do. But, if you manage to elect somebody fucking, like a general major fucking lord, I don't know. Somebody with a brain. And what is wrong with Trump, really? Is he just old? Is he just retarded? Is he just a narcissist? What is it? Is it everything? I mean, he's a spoiled fucking brat. We all know that. Always been. Rich prick. He's ruining America, which is fine by me. I mean, I don't fucking care. I'm real tired of hearing about him, though. But if we could borrow like half the fleet, not even that, just 2 carrier groups would be enough. Right? Just send them up here, past Iceland, or past Greenland, and just protect these waters right there for a little bit. That's all they gotta do. Right? Murmansk is down here. They gotta protect. Put 1 or 2 carrier groups here to protect. And then another one up here. Because they're gonna try to go around. And then Europe sends a couple of subs. Germany should have a fucking stockpile. So do the Brits. The Royal Navy. Just protect that until we've dealt with Murmansk. Of course, there are other ports too, but you know. So, if we could do that, of course, Americans would want to place a couple of carrier groups over here to protect, to hold this area, which is fine. Right? Because the Americans can rule the seas. hmm And with it, lots of airplanes too. Americans, I'm sure they're interested in taking some of this, but frankly, I don't want to give America one fucking inch for the U.S. They're big enough already, and they're cocky enough. Always have been. They don't get shit. If China wants to expand over Mongolia, hey, I'm all for it. That depends on the Siberians, doesn't it? I mean, if they want to break free from Russia, because they've been harassed since, I don't know, 16th, 15th century or something, when the Russian Tsar took over. Like, why don't they rule themselves? That would be so much better. I mean, Siberia is in Asia, same as Ural, right? Europe, well, that's about here, more or less, right? That's Europe, belongs to Europe. And we don't want the Russians here. I mean, who the hell wants the Russians? Of course, these nations will fight over the oil, which is in this territory. That's fine, I mean, just cut it up. I don't fucking care. And, yeah, if Norway gets the coastline here, just the coastline, so Svalbard is not contested anymore, and maybe even this, maybe, and then Sweden gets the lower part here, for their efforts, and then Finland takes the rest, you know, double in size, I don't care, at least there, and the rest of the coastline, all the way down over here, yeah, why shouldn't they? I mean, you can trust the Nordics. Right? You can't trust all these other guys, but good enough, right? The European Union and NATO and whatnot. France is pretty big. Germany is pretty big. Poland is pretty big, right? Then you got Spain down here and Italy. Those are the major powers. Of course, UK. Those are really the major powers. And you got Romania over here in Europe. And you got Sweden, Norway, and Finland. I mean, they're just up here doing nothing, not bothering anyone. Greenland used to be under Norwegian control, though, until the Danish fucked us over. And the French. The Danish and the French pulled together and screwed us out of Greenland. That's fine. But Greenland is just settled down here. That's all they're using. Like, Norway has tried to settle over here, but I don't know. They just wouldn't have it. I don't care whether it's Danes or Swedes or Norwegians or Finns, but we should utilize this a little bit better. You know? Sure as shit don't give it to the Americans. Like, they can't even control their own fucking territories. You know? I mean, it's a slave nation. The only difference is that slaves changed color. You know, it's still a fucking slave nation. So, their economy is, well, it's catching up with them. I mean, they've been riding that fucking economy for ages. You know, taking advantage of everything. But we need to get the Americans out of Europe. That's for damn fucking certain. So yeah, a standing European army would go a long way against, achieving that. When Egypt tried to move into, was it Libya? The Americans rejected that. You know, they have no fucking right or anything, but I think that's what they did. Was it Israel? I'm not sure. I think it was the Egyptians that tried to expand, but the Americans were in the way of that. And the Americans have been, well, sucking up all the money for the military for the last 80 years or so. That time's coming to a halt. Germany and Sweden is ramping up production. Brits probably too. France, maybe. I mean, I wouldn't trust the French with anything. They're good at revolutions, though. I mean, it seems like they've figured out what they want to do with their own nations, finally. After how many revolutions? I don't know. Fuck ton. Yeah. But, you know, they finally came to terms with themselves. It seems. Denmark is just a little spit of land. If they control this thing, I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I'm really not. Or Lithuania. I don't really care. We got Finland, Sweden, yeah. But Sweden has no room for expansion anywhere. I mean, the European nations are not going to go to war with each other. That's just a given. Like, why the hell would they? And if they did, they'd just, the EU would tell them to shut the fuck up and get back in their place. So that's pretty much settled. But Russia, they're always poking, always testing, always trying, always creating a shitty circumstance. Moldova. This might be Russian territory? I don't know. But Moldova might as well get it, right? Romania's pretty big. Moldova isn't, so Moldova could expand a little bit. The Black Sea, I mean, there's plenty of room for trade here. But everybody's afraid of Russians, of course. If we can get rid of them, this whole fucking region here would settle down. You know, and these, Finland, Estland, Latvia, Lithuania, Belarus, Poland, Ukraine, they could all just breathe easy, right? If they got rid of Russia. I'm not saying take all of it. I'm saying take all the way to Ural. All the way down there. That's a nice marker for me, anyway. You know? Just get rid of that part. The rest is Asian. Don't fucking care. Leave it alone. But Moscow, they can go under Belarus. That's their closest relations, I think. Anyway. What do you think? I mean, why don't we? We should seize this opportunity. Because Russia fucking stinks. Every European knows this. And the Russian people, I mean, they just go about their lives. They don't do anything to them or anything. Just, your territory is now under the rule of a different country. Deal with it. Russian law and Russian tyrannical circumstances is no more. Putin is done. Right? These nations are good nations. They don't have any problems. Right? They're working societies, integrated into Europe, and yeah, Russians would be better off. These Russians, right? Not all of Russia. This is Siberia and Ural. But these fuckers. Now, I'm sure it's not that simple. I'm sure there's a lot of, where do the Russians get their armies? Probably over here, because they're the ones getting used. Give them their independence. Right, I'm sure there's a couple of fleets over here and whatnot. We need to get rid of it. Yeah. Think of it as China. Oh hell, there. It's fucking massive. If they would step up to the plate, and they probably would if the EU, announced their intentions. China could easily just patrol their borders. I don't know if this is their border or whatever, but look like. I don't know if Mongolia is its own country. It probably is. But the Chinese could support the Mongolians. Probably wouldn't go over well. But if China and Kazakhstan could come to terms, China could just support Kazakhstan on the border, make sure the Russians didn't invade or anything, just to make sure they stayed in line. Yeah. Until Siberia would form a government and whatnot. I don't care if China wants to expand a little bit. I mean, let them. Japan wants to take a little piece of it. I don't fucking care. But that's up to them. I mean, we're over here in Europe. But yeah, America needs to fix themselves. Like the French, they need a revolution. Like their government, two-party system, doesn't work. Like, wake the fuck up. You need a new government. You need new fundamental laws. Like, what's with the guns? Why? No other nation on the planet allows that many guns. Democracy? My ass. I mean, half of you is trying to just fight the other half. Like, hello? Wake the fuck up. And, you're all undereducated. The government is not providing health care or anything. It's a fucking mess. But they're halfway across the world. Right? They just need to sort themselves out. But why does Europe have to deal with Russia? This part of Russia. Why can't we just take it? I mean, as long as one nation doesn't control most of it, right? Like, if Ukraine grows to be 3 times its size, it's alright, right? As long as Belarus is also, you know, equally big, or more or less. I mean, Ukraine could be the next powerhouse in Europe, right? And then Belarus coming in on a second. Latvia, tripling its potential or quadrupling, or yeah. And then Estland, you know, getting 8 times as big as the world, whatever. And Finland doubling in size, or even tripling in size, taking all the coastline. And then Norway coming up on top and either taking this whole fucking peninsula here to control the waters, or letting Sweden have the lower parts, so they have access to the sea, which is something they should have. I mean, they could go through here, of course, but Finland is landlocked. I'm sure they want access to the sea. If they gotta go through the canal here, from here, that's fine, but they used to own this territory up here, which would give them access, but yeah. I mean, the threat about going into Russia is Murmansk, their navy. As far as I know, we haven't done shit about their navy. But they got no land troops. And their air force is pretty fucking vast, I think. But if we had some American help here, just to block them, right? We got France and Germany and all these sending planes to Ukraine and just gunning them, maybe through Finland. Yeah, it requires all of Europe to go to war, which is basically what we're doing already. So I mean, Moscow is the ruling seat. What is it, the Kremlin or whatever? The Russian palace, government place. I mean, if we just bomb that, right? They wouldn't have a government anymore, right? And then just carve it up. And then just, start broadcasting to the Russians, like, this territory is now under European law. I mean, this is a great opportunity for the EU to make its own country. That's another option. Well, that could be Moscow. Or it could be somewhere else. Like, the EU could have a little country over here. I don't know. Like, just keeping relations with Asia, I guess. That's another option for the EU to have its own resources, its own country, where every European nation is free to come and go. And it's a seat for negotiations. Well, now it's down in Belgium, isn't it? Belgium? That's where they do the negotiations. I mean, why is it down there? Might as well be over here. And they can create whatever the fuck they want to create. A seat of power. I mean, they could just take this little thing, but I feel like we're robbing Lithuania out of that. Might as well distribute what's there. Yeah, anyway, those are my thoughts. And Trump needs to go away. obviously. I mean, if the Americans would wake up, that would be fucking great. There's 330 million Americans. There's one Trump. Like, fucking retards. You know? And we're gonna have a president. Why? Your government sucks. It's using you. It's just taking all your money and fucking off. Meanwhile, you're getting plowed in the ass. Why do you need a government that doesn't work? It's just siphoning all the resources from every goddamn state and giving it to the rich people. You get nothing in return. You have a military. That's it. Fucking retarded. How about some infrastructure? How about some hospitals? How about, letting the taxpayer money go to a little bit of military, 4, maybe 6 carrier groups. Alright? Nobody can contest that. Alright? That's all you need. And get rid of the gun laws. Let's stop selling guns. Get rid of the whole fucking industry. Try to collect these old weapons and try to get the nation under control. I mean, what's the point of living here if you gotta live in fear? Freedom. Freedom for what? To be poor? What is American freedom? To say what you want? You can say whatever the fuck you want. But you shouldn't have the right to shoot people. School shootings, whatnot. Postal officials going mental. Like, what is that about? How fucked is your system that happens? It's only in America. These things only happen in America. That's how fucking fucked up you are. And your food is full of pesticide and shit. Wake up. Fix it. The reason it's full of pesticides is that there are no restrictions. The government is doing a piss poor job. I mean, bread has 30 ingredients. What's the 30 ingredients? Water, flour, egg, a pinch of salt, milk. Isn't that about it? Maybe a bit of fat. Yes, a little bit of fat. That's 5. I'm no fucking baker. I might be missing ingredients like yeast. But 30? Where'd you come up with that number? We gotta have red dye and blue dye and green dye, and then we gotta have some antibiotics, and then we gotta have some, It's insane. Sawdust. Filling in the cracks. Corn syrup and everything. And, nice wax coating on every tomato, and, so it stays fresh. Yeah, all kinds of shit. It's amazing you guys are still alive. Yeah, what else can we say about America other than it stinks? But that's your fucking problem. It's not for me to say, but it's not good for you. You should do something about it. If you did, and if the government was in control of healthcare and schooling, it would be a lot better. You'd get it a lot cheaper. Your tax money would actually go towards taking care of you, getting you educated, getting a little bit worldly, like. I love how stupid our American memes on the internet are. Name a country besides America. And most people just point to this one and call it South Africa. Yeah, that's how uneducated you are. Yeah, South Africa. It's down there. That's South Africa. Alright. What is this continent called? Brazil? Not quite. You know? Can you point to the US on a planet, globe thingy? Um, is it over here? No, certainly isn't. Like, just basic things, like, Jesus Christ. What do you call this nation? I don't know. Could it be Australia? Hmm. No, it's not nearby. It's Australia. Yeah. Yeah. And then Americans coming over to Europe and reciting to the cops, their rights and whatnot. They're in a different nation, buddy. You know how that works? It's not a state. It's a whole different side of the planet. You know? You're all over here on this side. Nobody else is over here bothering you. But when you cross halfway across the fucking planet, there will be some changes. Yeah. Anyway. I hope this video comes out to a lot of people and you have a lot of opinions and whatnot. Speak your mind. Use the comment section below and just go nuts. Like, why don't the Europeans take this part of Russia? Every European nation only has one threat, and it is Russia. Right, well, if you exclude these crazy people down here, you know? But that's basically religious views, religious differences. That's basically all what it's all about. And, God bless them, I guess. Well, it is mentally fucked. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, Ukraine is over here. It's already pretty fucking big, right? If they took this part all the way down here and just all the way over there, how about we took a little chunk of that, like there, and made that the European Union country, you know, just a little bit right there, all the way over to Moscow and whatnot. Moscow can be Belarus. I don't give a shit, but just a little something right there. It's a good location for it. Yeah, we can have the military right in there, fairly close to the Asians, right? Not too close. Yeah. Just have the European military right over there, making sure these big nations don't act up too much. Forming good relations and whatnot, good communication. Greenland is fucking massive, though. So, when global warming happens and this whole fucking thing thaws, holy shit, they'll be a superpower. But what are Greenland people? Aren't they from, like, Portugal? Isn't that it? I mean, it's under Danish rule. Doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense. First ones there were the Norwegians. Yeah. Norwegians, Swedes, Danes, those were the ones exploring. From Iceland to Greenland to the Americas. That's really our turf, the Viking turf, but whatever. Would be nice though to create a little bit more up here. Get some trade routes going back and forth. Tunnel under the ice or whatnot and get it over the way over to Alaska. Alaska? Canada. Fucking hell. I keep messing. There's Alaska. Tiny little Alaska. Yeah. Canada. Yeah, trade routes. But you probably have to go, you know, from here to there and all the way down there. Refueling station in Greenland. Anyway. What else am I supposed to do? It's the middle of the night.